definitely very entertaining to come and see the local and outside pilots come and participate in these activities.
Okay, I'll move it. Moved by Supervisor Strauss, second by Supervisor McGowan. Any discussion?
I just want to clarify that this is going to go in front of the board on May 17th,
May 19th.
May 19th, and the event's on the 20th.
Yes.
Okay, we'll start the contract now. I just wanted to make sure I had that.
Good question.
I'll just add on to that, for the county attorney, we've done this before, so there's already a contract in place that you can kind of follow on.
I'm aware.
Okay.
Just 24 hours will be a new record for us. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, so we had the motion on the floor. Any discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next, new contract.
And this is to execute the contract with the air show network once finalized and received. We put this request a little bit early before we got the contract because we have a deadline of June, July to confirm the jet team, Blue Angels or Thunderbirds. So we just want to make sure that everything is in place so we have that contract in place and then confirm the jet team ahead of time. The contract's not been finalized, but it will be forwarded to the board once received.
Good.
That's good government right there.
Thank you so much.
I just want to add on that this will be in a form approved with the county attorney's office as how we set up this.
Yes. Gordon.
And do you have a dollar amount for it? Because it's not on the reso request.
No, the way it's being structured is that we get 10% of gate receipts. Sorry, net profit, sorry.
10% of net profits.
Net profits, yes. We can forward that to you in an email though.
Well, because it's kind of a material term, I just want it to be part of the resolution. And what's the date of the show and what would be the termination date then for the contract?
I actually have a copy of the contract here, the initial contracts. The show's initially going to be held in 2025, possibly June, July, but we have to confirm it's that weekend. It's going to be 4 days. So it's going to be Thursday, Friday for practice, and the show will be Saturday, Sunday. I reached out to the sheriff's office and they gave us some blackout days. So the week of American, July 4th, that weekend, those days are out the window. So we have not finalized the exact date yet.
So we'll just make the contract date for the end of 2025.
And that's for 3 shows every 2 years. So 2025, 27, and 29.
Right, so we'll go through 2029.
Okay. So there'll be a contract term for each of those 3 years.
3 shows over the 5 years.
Got it.
McGowan, Supervisor McGowan, did you have something?
Well, no, I was,
I thought you already-
I thought we were voting on it. I was gonna bring the motion,
Oh, okay, very good.
but I guess I preempted you, Chairman. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just want to make sure you had an opportunity to speak if you so desired, but
No,
so you move it and second by Supervisor Stroud.
Yeah.
Any discussion? I think this is going to be a great thing.
Yeah.
Good work. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Good work. All right, down to
Yeah.
discussion items.
So it's that time of year again. Our annual Part 139 inspection is going to be held most of next week. Officially, it's going to be May 3rd to May 5th, but the inspectors arrive a little early, so I'll show them around before we actually get to work. No major issues will be found. I expect the only biggest issue is markings, but we have an annual marking painting schedule that we follow every year. So as long as he's okay with us maintaining that schedule, that's only the biggest issue. Otherwise, I suspect there'll be nothing major.
Good job. Next item was Assemblywoman Carrie Warner, a visit to the airport.
So Assemblywoman Carrie Warner's office reached out for a tour of the airport. We have absolutely no reservations about her visiting the airport. We welcome everyone, including everyone here, to visit the airport as often as possible. We will be facilitating. It's just 1 hour visit, 11 a.m., May 19th. Anyone who wishes to attend or join the tour are welcomed, but she will be attending on that day.
It's 11 a.m., so it'll be right about the middle of the.
Board meeting.
Right, so.
Was that pre-planned?
No comment.
Can we get us all over there in that conference room upstairs, maybe, you know? Bring in a couple lounge chairs for Amanda and the girls and, you know.
Yeah,
All right, that's that idea.
Let me try that at least.
Under referral pending items, the consensus of the committee was for superintendent of public works to bring exact wartime figures, the other end of balloon festival, blah, blah, blah. Consensus was to retain this matter as a pending item to continue discussions regarding donation. Balloon festival, at these future meetings. It was noted that the application for occupancy tax funds to cover overtime costs had been submitted, and I was at the meeting Tuesday, whatever day it was. Tuesday, and that was brought up, but it was tabled, is my recollection, to the next meeting to give Superintendent Hajos an opportunity to speak on behalf of this.
Actually,
Is that it? No.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Basically, what we realized that there were requests probably coming in from the sheriff's office as well for occupancy tax funds to cover their overtime for events as well. So rather than come in piecemeal with a bunch of different requests, we decided to consolidate them. And every department that has overtime hours that result from some of the tourism events, we're going to bring them in together. So we expect to do that by next month.
Yes, Supervisor McGowan.
Yeah, I tried to speak for the behalf of everyone there, Kevin, but I'm
I
not
was gonna
as
bring
good
that
as
up.
you, so, you know.
So yeah, you'll have an opportunity as well.
But a
Anyone else?
package deal, yeah, a package deal sounded so much better with everything.
Right. Yep. Yes.
John, should I be reaching out to Terry and or Jim to kind of maybe add on to my existing application?
Your existing application, that'll work. Okay, thanks.
Any more discussion on that? Anything else regarding the airport? If not, we'll thank you, Mr. Mack.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Robin.
We will move on to buildings and grounds. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he's.
No, I'm just all right.
But I just gave you a new.
No, I put one up. Did I rip the wrong one? I just want to make sure I have the right one.
Not the one that's got two items.
Right,
That one.
this one.
Here it is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Matt. Realize it's- All right, buildings and grounds. Privilege of the floor, public comment, anyone? Not much interest there, huh? Okay, we'll move down to the action agenda, new business items. First one is a request notice of intent to fill position of cleaner number 11.
So I want to talk about this real quick. We had a cleaner that we had some issues with, so we had to do a termination. So we're looking to backfill the position. But with that being said, I know what went through the board on Friday. I'm assuming that these notice of intent to fills no longer have to come to. I didn't have, this was done before the board meeting. So do these have to come through committee anymore?
So they don't after this, we were just finishing out this month,
Okay.
as all of the agendas come in, there'll be a new procedure announced before next round of meetings.
Okay, perfect.
It'll make things better. Streamline.
So again, we had some issues and it was a termination. So we're looking to backfill the position.
Motion. Supervisor Strauss, second by Supervisor Thomas. Any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Nope. That'll be it. Next one is request new contract.
Yep, we have a resolution request in there for a new contract for the Siemens industry, the Apogee computer system that they have. It's an annual contract that we have for repair and maintenance on the computer system.
Right. Supervisor McGowan,
Computer?
Yes, it's a computer to maintain and monitor all of the 186 heat pumps within the municipal center and HSB building.
20,000 for that alone. And that doesn't include any maintenance on the heat pumps or anything.
That does include its repair and maintenance to any
Oh,
of the
so the
186.
computers and the heat pumps.
Correct.
And,
It's the monitoring system and the heat pumps themselves
and how is that system working?
working very well. It just needs to be updated in the next contract, actually, after we have this one.
I mean, updated. Just
Another
the computer system, the software, or the
software.
whole heat pump
No,
system?
the software as of right this moment.
And we don't have any problems with cold rooms and people complaining it's chilly over there?
They can, they don't complain. They suggest that it's a little too cold, hot and cold in certain areas. And this
No,
system allows you to
yeah.
adjust it from there and or on hand at the site.
Okay. Thank you.
you deal with people, you're always gonna have those. differences.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. And I understand that, but I just, I want to make sure, clarify.
Good, thank you. Superintendent Hajo,
I wanted to add, this contract normally does not come through committee. I typically do this because under my authority, I can authorize it if it's less than $20,000. This is the first year that they went over $20,000. So I had to bring it through committee to get your approval. It's only with Siemens because this Apogee system is proprietary to them. So that's why we have to do it. As Scott said, the 15-year contract that was for the entire county center is up at the end of this year. This one is for the Human Services Building, but the contract that we have with Siemens is up at the end of this year, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do before the end of this year to whether it's to initiate another contract with Siemens, which will not be a 15-year contract, or whether we do something else
For this building,
for this building. Yes.
which was built in 1958. We have heat pumps in there.
That's
And
correct.
we're sucking water out of the ground to try to heat this place,
That's correct. It's part of it.
because that was more efficient. Wouldn't make sense to me, but that's okay. All right, cool. I was just wondering, I've never seen this before, and I've been here for a while, and so because it went over the 20, so it makes sense. Thank you. Sorry.
I tried to negotiate under 20.
Just to clarify, is this the last year then for this particular contract as well, or is there going to be additional years?
The Human Services Building, we've kind of added, that's been a renewal every couple of years. The 15-year kind of contract that we have with Siemens for the municipal center, that involved, as Supervisor McGowan said, the heat pump system as well as the geothermal field. That entire contract is up at the end of this year. And that was that 15-year program that started just a year, I think, before I started. So that's going to change. We've already kind of done some preliminary work with Clark Patterson to look at possibly changing the system, or if we still continue with Siemens, but it will not be on this 15-year program that they had in the past.
So for this resolution, can I just recommend that we include in it a renewal at the mutual agreement of the parties at the same price, or not to exceed 5% increase? So this way you may not need to come back year after year, since it's a proprietary system for Siemens and we don't really have an option. And then it would be up to the county to determine if they're going to continue it in year 2 or year 3.
good point. Yes, Supervisor McGowan.
And for the county building, if it'll be possible, I will be asking for over the past 15 years, the savings or whatever we were promised and what we actually had, some analysis on that system. I've had a tour of the basement, and I know the wells are out there, but I just, for some reason, I just don't feel comfortable with a geothermal system in a building that's built in 58, 60s with the I've been in geothermal houses that were built for geothermal houses, and and the issues that they've had. And so I just want to make sure that we're there is a savings and we're just not dumping money out.
Supervisor Bramer. Did you have?
Come on, thanks. I got in front of me. I'm just two things about the one over there. I'm concerned about just perpetually agreeing to the contract. I know it's proprietary and probably don't have much of a choice, but I think that the county board should still have some, be aware of this. This is the first time I've seen us approve this kind of contract, like Brad said. And then secondly, I hope you guys do an RFP or something for this building. Because of all of the issues, I won't get into them, that we had, with what Brad is talking about, the geothermal system, I think it's great. I think it can be a benefit to our building and the heating and cooling and all of that. It's just, how do we go forward with continuing to maintain the systems and making sure that they work? Because I will say we got rid of that performance evaluation report. We don't do that anymore, Brad. So we'd have to hire someone to do another evaluation of the system as it works now, I guess. But if you could speak a little bit more about what your plans are for the future. I like the idea of what you said about.
So we engage one of our term agreement consultants to look at the existing system and look at how it operates today. We also engaged them or gave them the task of most of the stuff that we have in this building for the computer system and the monitor system is kind of a legacy system that's expiring, that's getting old. There's no updates to it anymore. There's not a lot that we can change. There's not a lot that Siemens can change with it because it's just an old system. That's why we're looking to see, and remember, this was a Siemens system inside this building. So we're trying to figure out a way to, whether it's a continuation with Siemens through, and it's going to be an RFP.
Okay.
Or it's a continuation with somebody else, but then that somebody else may have to remove all of Siemens kind of valve monitor and whatever else and put something new in place. We don't know. That's what we're evaluating right now with this consultant.
Okay.
Who up to this point, they've done a lot of this free for us.
Yes.
So that's based on what Scott and I have asked them to do.
Right.
Get nothing.
But yes, it will go out to an RFP. This will not be just pick somebody. The one over the HVAC is a little bit different, but this one for the county center will definitely go out to an RFP.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Supervisor Wild.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Along the same lines, what's the life expectancy of these heat pumps? And are we planning on having a reserve for replacement one of these years?
You talk to that, or you want to talk to that?
We both talk. Currently, those life expectancy of the heat pumps that we have in the system are anywhere from 15 to 20 years. As they're starting to change out, we're reconstructing, as well as we still had some new ones down in the basement that we swap them out. Pretty much probably every 3 to 4 months, we swap out some of the older ones, put in new TEC boards, restructure them, make sure everything is not leaking or anything along those lines, changing the pipes out. So hopefully that answered your question.
So are we talking about software or the actual hardware?
Hardware,
Hardware.
the actual heat
Okay.
pumps.
Right. So that was my question. Are we planning on, the ultimate replacement of these, maybe in the next 5 years, that could be tens, if not more, of thousands of dollars, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yep. And I mean,
And we've had those all along down in the basement. We've had spares and we still have, I don't know how many are left now. Six left, but there's over 200 in this building. I think between here and over there's well over 200 heat pumps. They've done a lot of repairs on them. Our guys are more than capable of working on them. And we've also had Siemens work on them as well. But yes, we will have to go into budget this year saying, okay, future, we're going to start replacing these heat pumps and Siemens is not part of this anymore. And as well as their system, we will have to budget for that money.
All right. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Good question. Excuse me. So do we have a motion on that? No? So we need a motion regarding this new contract. Moved by Supervisor Thomas, a second by Supervisor Stroud. Any further discussion? There being none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to discussion items. The work order request program, fleet car request program, Countryside Adult Home update, Joseph Warren Museum and Regional Morgue information update. So starting with the work order request program.
Work order request programs at 3,402 work order requests. And the fleet car request program is at 1,800.
Those seem to be working very well.
Very well.
Good to hear. Countryside Adult Homes.
So Countryside Adult Home, I got a couple of just quick updates. We were looking at the week, and right now it's tentatively pending the week of 5/8 that they would move into the new south wing and we would switch over to the west wing. We have found some, I guess I want to say, issues with the roof and some abatement. So we're pending some resolution on that. But in the meantime, it's not holding up the contract. There's other spots of Countryside that they're working on, which is outside of the south wing, which is the dining room, activity room, canopy out front, and some of the brickwork. So work hasn't stopped because of their waiting on this roof resolution and abatement work, but it's still moving forward.
So the west wing is next.
West wing is next. West wing and the west shower area.
Thank you. Joseph Warren Museum update. Anyone?
The Joseph Warren Museum, we, as you well all know, we contracted with Labella. Labella has been out to do their field work. They're actually coming next week to do some other investigations. They're moving forward, and I expect once they have kind of a preliminary, I would get together a meeting with the committee and the group for review of what they've produced so far. And then we can ask them kind of questions moving forward and what we want to do within the building. But I wanted them to get at least that data and that paperwork started first. And then we could bring it and submit it to the committee for review.
Very good. And last but not least, the regional morgue.
Last but not least, our favorite one. So as I announced last committee meeting, we reached out to two of our term agreement firms who had some morgue experience. We reviewed their proposals. We picked the proposal from Clark Patterson. Their original proposal came in somewhere about the $180,000 range for this feasibility study. We chatted with them and we got it knocked down after negotiations to about $136,000 and a hard deadline of a 5-month report to be submitted to this committee. That basically the scope that would include surveying potential stakeholders, current and historic statistics, population trends, potential site plans, so on and forth, so forth. Then we would also do in that draft report a market analysis, program development, proposed site alternative analysis, a financial plan, conceptual designs for 2 potential sites. And as I said last time, it would be one here, which would be the jail facility, and then possibly a standalone site, cost estimates, and an evaluation identification of funding opportunities. So I talked with John about this morning. The need right now is for us to move forward. I need funding to cover the cost of this feasibility study. So as I said, it's $136,000. But again, it's a 5-month deadline that they have to have this study into us so we can start moving forward. I want to reach out. Terry's here, and I thought Dr. Sicarico was going to be here this morning, but I'm not sure that he was able to make it. Terry might have some insight of some other things that he has heard through Saratoga County, Rensselaer County that might help us, kind of decision making or whatever. So Terry, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just a little bit of a study on my own and just speaking with the local communities, Saratoga County and Rensselaer County. It appears that Saratoga County has had a meeting, but that looked like it was for to try to expand the Saratoga Hospital morgue. It wasn't technically for a regional morgue, but that is just conversation between myself and a couple of the coroners in Saratoga County. So they need the room down there. It's a small morgue in Saratoga County. I think if we, and I don't want to speak for Saratoga County at all, but I'd like to approach them and talk to them about joining forces with us. I want to speak for Washington County, but I think they would be on board with coming over. Albany Med is starting to jump back into the business of doing forensic autopsies. It's a recent subject. I understand it's hard, it's difficult. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's a need. We're going to have this need. Somebody decides that they don't want to do it anymore. We're going to have to go somewhere. I think the closest after Sikorica would be Poughkeepsie. I believe that would be the closest place, and that is going to be, that's not feasible for our people that do the transports of human remains to that facility and wait for that. And it's not just for our police. That's what I have right now. Nothing is confirmed, and I'm, it's just speaking with folks that I've been in touch with and who I've dealt professionally with in the past 8 years or so.
Very good. Hang on just a minute, please. So Supervisor McGowan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Terry, thank you. I think this is a good time to maybe reach out to Saratoga and some of the other counties to let them know, because Superintendent Adro has asked for some funding, and a buy-in would be nice from the other counties that they are involved. Would like to be involved in this. It's not a money-making revenue for us, but it's to reduce the cost. So if we all can get involved, I would think that would be a good idea, my opinion alone. But I mean, Friday when I heard that Saratoga was thinking about it, and I've been working on this for 4 years. We're getting so much closer now. I got to wait another 5 months for, another feasibility study. It's just frustrating, but I think this is the time that we might want to reach out. I know that everybody says, well, wait until we have a plan, but let's put it out there and let them know what we're working on. If that's me.
Superintendent Adro.
Just to add on a little bit of what Terry said, Rensselaer County is looking at it, but who's to say if we don't get ours in place, maybe Rensselaer County will come here. We only talked about Saratoga, Washington, and Warren. We also have Essex and Clinton and Hamilton. I mean, those counties were all ones that were. And then a possibility of Vermont as well. So I don't, and to Supervisor McGowan, I don't want you to get discouraged. I mean, this is moving forward, but John and I spoke this morning, and I said the key right now is to present to each one of these counties, their county administrators or their county execs and their corners in those with Chairman Garrity to start having those discussions. There has been a discussion all along saying, well, we need to show them a plan first. You don't. You need to know if it's going to work first. I don't build a road and say, well, how many cars are going to be on the road. I need to know that information before I build that road. So the same with this is we need to know who's going to jump on board with us, who's going to come along and say, yes, we will certainly sign on with you and we will have the autopsies done here in Warren County. So again, we hold we're gonna, if the board or the committee is gonna give me the money to move forward with Clark Patterson, we're holding them to 5 months, and we will make sure that there's a report here within 5 months once they start.
Supervisor Stroll.
Yeah, well, I think the sooner we get going with this. And part of the feasibility study is to look at just what Kevin was saying, I believe. And so I think we need to just go ahead with a feasibility study. And like anything else, if Saratoga decides to come in with us or any of the other counties, we can say, well, here's the cost that we have and, work that out then. But I think it's important for us to get going on this. So if we need this committee's approval for that expenditure, I'd be willing to go there today even.
And I'll be willing right behind you with a second.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Superintendent Hazel.
So I do not have a resolution as part of the package because I wanted to talk through it, but if we wanna to initiate a resolution for whether I would say a capital project and how we fund the capital project. And I will leave to the budget officer as to where we would have the funding to go forward with this project.
I think we could do that. We could fashion a motion. Supervisor McGowan.
Oh, yes, thank you. I hear Rensselaer, Terry told us that they've hired a forensic pathologist. We know Dr. Sikorica is getting older, and he stated in the meetings that, he enjoys doing what he's doing, but he's not going to leave high and dry. But this might be an opportunity to reach out to Rensselaer saying, look, this is what we're seeing too, since they have a forensic pathologist, this could be, so I'd say we reach out to everybody in New York, all the counties.
Yep. So, backing up, we would like, I believe, to fashion a motion regarding the funding of this preliminary design feasibility study, call it whatever you'd like.
Do a new capital project.
You need a new capital project and you need the amount of the capital project, then it will get referred to finance. Finance will determine how we're gonna.
So that would, you do them as two separate resolutions.
The capital project funding? No, it'll be one referral to finance to create the capital project and the amount, and then the financing portion goes into that resolution, but finance wants to figure that out.
So it would be to create a capital project in the amount of $136,000.
All right, so we need a resolution creating a capital project for the regional morgue in the amount of $136,000. That enough? Need more in there? Okay,
Is that a fixed amount or not to exceed?
That's a not to exceed amount.
John Straw was,
Supervisor Conover.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm comfortable with that, either as part of this or concurrent with this, is this feasibility is going to be the, what is the plan? In other words, who's involved in the plan? Who do we think may be involved in the plan at least? And so that those things that follow are representative of that, reflect that. So I just want to make sure, we had this discussion at the last meeting. I just want to make sure on the front end that that's being done by someone. If it's not being done by our consultant, it needs to be done by our own staff, concurrent or both.
Superintendent Hajo.
And that's the first task of this study, is to gather that information with the help of a county administrator and chairman of the board.
Maybe what we could do is structure the agreement such that that the completion of that phase, that element comes first, and then at that moment in time we can make a decision to move forward with
Yes.
the other items that are part of this work program.
Sure.
Can you just say the name of the consultant?
Clark Patterson.
Do you need a contract for the? It's under.
No, because they're under a term agreement.
Anything else regarding this? So we
You comfortable with that?
Yeah,
We need the motion and a
Second.
second. Supervisor Stroud and Supervisor McGowan on the second. Any questions, any further discussion? If not, we'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. So that's it for the moment on the regional morgue. And I agree, we need to here move this forward with all haste. That's correct.
Find another gear.
Okay, moving on down to referral and pending items. Design for updates to the front entrance of the municipal center building. We were advised that the project was to be submitted to a subcontractor March 23rd, 2023.
So we reached out to our term agreement contracts that we have with consultants. Not sure why it says subcontractor, but contractors, consultants, and Labella came through with a decent proposal. We met and discussed the development of a plan for the front entrance, as well as I talked about last meeting, other other areas around the county center. I want to look at as a whole, not just the front entrance and the front entrance alone. So we're waiting for a proposed scope and fee to be submitted back to us from Labella, and I haven't received that as of today.
Very good. Thank you for that.
I got a question about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sure.
Wasn't that part of the court project? Some of that anyways?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so there will be a portion of this as part of the court funding that we had was just kind of the front entrance to the Supreme Court and the front of the county center. The remainder of it that we've discussed all along with the ring road, the ring circle out in front of the county center, as well as the drainage and other areas out there, that will not be covered under the court cost. So there may be some additional funding needed, but again, I don't know what the proposal of the scope is. There's a lot of that work that I'm thinking that county staff can do in-house. There may be some of it that falls to outside contractors, but I think a majority of it can be done in-house.
Is there funds left in the court project?
I don't want to say yes or no. There is some funding left in there, but remember, we're still doing the last phase of the courts right now. That involves some handicap accessibility. What are some of the other?
It involves
The
the
Supreme Court area.
Supreme Court, the lighting, the walls, the painting.
So there is funding available for that work, and once that work's over with, which we believe we have a deadline with the consultant to get that out to bid in June. So we'll know from that bid where we stand with the court money. So I can't say as of yet what it is. But there will be some funding, I believe, left over from that.
Okay. Let me ask a question, a little aside. You mentioned the Supreme Court lighting. Are you improving that lighting? Here's why I asked. I was at the Crime Victims Memorial Service, and those lights were as bright as they could go because I asked. And my comment, they're woefully inadequate.
That's part of it.
Okay.
That's part of it.
And
I was asked by a judge.
And as actually when I worked with.
We've had a discussion about it.
About that. The interior lights on those rings were switched off. So, but since then, we've actually changed out to a little bit of a stronger LED light, but we are changing every one of those fixtures within the Supreme Court.
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's the old court, right?
Yes,
Correct.
that's the big court.
The big courtroom.
I always felt like I was in a movie theater when I was in there.
It'll be updated.
Movie theaters generally warmer than Netflix,
Well, agree.
but they keep it cool on
Yeah, agree.
so you don't fall
But
asleep.
just as quiet.
Okay, so design updates, that takes care of that for the moment. Thank you. Referral from Criminal Justice Public Safety Committee regarding the matter of installing magnetometers. They will be installed once they are received from the court system, correct?
Yep, correct.
We're still waiting.
Still waiting on it. Yep.
Okay. I guess that's it. Privilege of the floor, public comment on any of this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we don't have to discuss it today, but with your concurrence, we could add to our discussion items, the matter of a building and grounds code enforcement office, so that maybe by the next meeting, our county administrator and others may be able, can get back to us to make sure that that's being taken care of.
Yeah, no, good point. Thank you. Yeah, we can do that. We should do that. Anything else? Anyone else? No, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Strauss, second Supervisor Connell.